welcome back everyone. Welcome back to another day of the StarsWar 11 Asia Closed Qualifier. Day number 3. I'm of course your host VIP, and with me I'm joined by these amazing remaining players here. We are here to crown the best in Asia. In the Asia EPT region, we have had an amazing so far bracket of players. We had Firefly, Silky, Rex, Lemon, Cyan, Kingslayer, Coffee, and Nice. And after a couple of days, we are down to 2 players. We're down to 2 players remaining here, Firefly and Cyan, the best Protoss that the Asia region has to offer. Let's go. For those that are curious, StarsWar 11 is of course going to be a big offline event occurring next month, and we are here to determine who actually qualifies and who is a part of that main event. All the regions will have qualifiers. All the regions have had qualifiers. The Korean region, the European and American region, and the Asia region as well. And we are going through the Asia region first to find out who makes it through into that main event. Now, if you're curious, if you're wondering, hold up, where's Oliveira? What's going on right now? Isn't Oliveira part of the Asia region? That is true, but Oliveira is the reigning world champion, so he is invited. He's invited into the main event. Really, it's all about who will join Oliveira in that main event. Right now, we're down to 2 Protoss players left here amongst everyone that got involved. Firefly and Cyan. Oh, let's go, Papi, let's go. I would say that Firefly and Cyan are number 1 and number 2 Protoss in the Asia region respectively. And I would also say that clearly, as they have shown, they are the best that Asia has to offer. Outside of Oliveira, of course, I would actually probably say that Oliveira, Firefly, and Cyan are top 3. I would go that far and say that they are the top 3 players in all of Asia, so it makes sense that the bracket has turned out this way. But who comes out on top and who has the better PvP? That's the thing right now, is that sure, I may rate Firefly's PvZ and PvT very highly, but that doesn't matter. What matters right now is the Protoss versus Protoss matchup instead. Oh boy. All comes down to a PvP. It's going to be a best of 7, by the way, not a best of 5, not a best of 3, so we're going to get into a full series here. And this has the potential. This has the potential to go the distance. Yet to determine our vetoes. I'm sure we'll get that soon, TM, as of course we're going to have cams available as well, and we'll get a little bit of insight as to how our players want to approach this series with their vetoes and with their map order as well. When it comes to PvP, I was going to say that Cyan comes off a little bit more standard. Firefly and Cyan, they remind me a little bit of the dynamic between Nice and Haas, where Firefly is a little bit more aggressive. We saw that a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago now, when Firefly went up against MaxPax in the PvP finals of ESL Open Cup Americas, where they went all the way to Game 5, they went all the way to the ace match, and Firefly was very unpredictable. He was very aggressive. We saw a lot of all-ins out of Firefly, and he brought MaxPax to his knees. Wasn't able to kill MaxPax, but did make him bleed and did make him work for it quite a bit. So again, Firefly has shown us that he can be quite aggressive in this matchup. Cyan, again, usually he goes for a more mid-game oriented style. Usually tries to weather the storm early on and then get into a solid mid-game scenario instead. We say goodbye to Ratazet and to Equilibrium. Game 1 from Firefly is going to be on Solaris, followed by Hecate, Alcyone, Hardlead, Oceanborn, and Golden Aura. Okay, now something very important about these map picks. Firefly, you can see there's 3 map picks, are Solaris, Hardlead, and Oceanborn. Small maps. Short rush distance by ground, very aggressive maps there. Meanwhile, Cyan went for Alcyone and Hecate, which tells us much more standard, much more defensive, much more mid-game oriented. So based on the map picks and map vetoes, so far everything rings true as what we spoke about when it comes to the players and their playstyle. So far everything looks like it makes sense, but what about the games themselves? What about the games themselves? Because game 1 is going to be on Solaris. We're going to be getting ready to dive on in against Solaris. Does have a lot of bases, true, but also has speed zones. You can be very assertive, very aggressive on this map, especially with Blink Stalkers as well. You can be very mobile, very flexible. Solaris can really pop things off. I'm curious how things pan out. Here we go, game 1. We are loading on in. And in the bottom right, we do have... Oh, look out now. We do have Firefly offside. And in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Protoss, Cyan, for Mystery Gaming. Here we go. Sorry, I'm still waking up. All good though, all good. But here we go. The PvP, the best of 7 grand finals has commenced. As a reminder, the winner of this series will advance on into the main event. The loser will be knocked out of the tournament and will not have a chance to really flex their skill and flaunt in front of a crowd at that offline finals. Here we go. For the time being, we do have our 2-gate setups. Yo, a big shout out to the sponsors, of course. A shout out to Team WE, shout out to New TV, shout out to Doyu, Team Double, is it Double Team? Double D? Aegon and SCBoy. Big shout out. Without the lovely sponsors, this event could not be possible. This event wouldn't be happening. Big shout out as well. A special shout out to SCBoy, as they're of course one of the big organizers behind this event. Again, they've been kind of propping up and carrying the Chinese scene behind their back with WTO, with Kung Fu Cup, with Master Coliseum, and now with the StarsWar 11 as well. So big shout out to SCBoy. Again, they're the main Chinese casters. As we do have a probe scout coming out here from Cyan, and he does come across the fake proxy pylon. Again, Firefly, he hit his second pylon out of the map. Cyan's a deep enjoyer. He's a deep enjoyer. Throws down the spray as well right outside the pylon. You do love to see it. And again, it is going to be a fake from Firefly. We're getting into a standard build. Likewise, Cyan is aware of that as well. Now we're getting to our first units of choice. It's going to be double Stalker out of Firefly. Cyan going Stalker Sentry instead. Okay, very interesting here. Is going for a safer opener from Cyan, which makes sense. A much more aggressive opener here out of Firefly. He's not just moving out with 2 Stalkers, he's moving out with his 3rd and 4th Stalker as well. So a very active style here. Very aggressive start from Firefly. Probe does get shut down. Looks like we're making a 2nd sentry here for Cyan, just to be safe. Probe Scout does confirm that the pylon wasn't utilized in any way. There was no hidden tech, for example. And we are settling on into our natural bases. Now, again, the role here should be Cyan being the defender and Firefly being the aggressor. We do have the Hallucination Scout moving out across the map to get a bit of a scout off. Firefly is pushing out with his Stalkers, or it looks like he wants to try to catch any units that would punish that pylon. As Firefly sets up a proxy pylon towards the south, Hallucination will get eyes on the expansion, so Cyan knows that Firefly is not going for an all-in. At least for now, it doesn't seem to be the case. Twilight councils are on the way for both Cyan and Firefly, and they do get scouted. But what I'm curious by, what I'm concerned by, is that proxy pylon. Now, because Firefly has a pylon out on the map, if he wanted to, yes, he is using it to reinforce, but he could even try to spice things up even further with a proxy Dark Shrine. But it looks like it's just a reinforcing pylon as he's moving out across the map. Cyan, how good are your force fields? Pretty good. Good force fields here. 1 Stalker goes down. We're going to get a 2nd Stalker as well. Big losses here for Firefly. 2 Stalkers for nothing. We could even get a 3rd. Oh my god, the force fields. We get a 3rd. We get a 4th Stalker as well. So Firefly, a 5th and a 6th. 6 Stalkers for nothing. I could be crazy, but I believe we have not picked off a single unit here. So Cyan popping off already. A very good trade. Getting 6 Stalkers for free. Not bleeding out a single unit here. He shuts down the pylon as well. Comes across the proxy. And Cyan, you can see him have a massive lead. You can see it there in the supplies. As Cyan, he's got, what, double, triple the army supply here of Firefly. Firefly, he tries to come in here with a bit of a counterattack, but he's shut down. Depth harassed across the map. GG gets called. It's too much of a deficit. And Cyan takes game number 1. GG, well played. Again, that was a brutal game for Firefly. He fumbled the ball quite hard there. Again, didn't kill a single unit. He was caught by the force fields. He misrallied into the army as well. Like, that could not have gone any worse. And in the end, he had to tap out then and there. Just too much of a deficit, and some solid play out of Cyan. GG, well played. Oh, the juice box it's back. The juice box. For those that are curious, if you were here for day number 2, Firefly was sipping on that juice box. He was sipping down some lemonade while he had his way with lemon in the semi-finals. So the juice box is back. We're staying hydrated, and Firefly, We need to wake up. We need to wake up. We expect better from Firefly. We know that he has it and we know how good of a player Firefly is. And mistakes like what we saw in game 1, they're not acceptable. They're not acceptable, not at this level of play, not against Cyan. So Firefly, we need to tighten things up. We need to wake up and we need to bounce back here in game 2. And again, when it comes to the maps here, Solaris was Firefly's pick, and now we're getting to Cyan's map of choice. Again, it is going to be a bit of a longer one, a bit of a larger one. We're loading in to Hecate. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have for team offside, Firefly. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent, we have the red Chinese Protoss, Cyan, for Mystery Gaming. Here we go. The PvP does continue. And Firefly spicing it up. Okay, so we're loading into Hecate. Now, Hecate has a couple of interesting features. One, it is quite a wide map. There are a lot of bases to be taken, so that can kind of lend towards a longer game. But the rush distance by ground is short. The rush distance by ground is quite short, so it doesn't take long at all to get across the map and to actually get in the face of your opponent. There is a ramp outside the natural, which can make aggression be quite difficult. So we'll see if Firefly can use that to his advantage, because Firefly is going for an economic opener. It's a 2-gate opener out of Cyan. Firefly, he's setting up for a gate expand. Very greedy build. And there it is. There is the expansion. So, fun fact, Firefly, he opened up with 1 gas. It was a single gas opener out of Firefly. He goes for a gate expand before Cybercore. This is the greediest build you can go for. This is the greediest build you can go for in PvP. And Cyan sees this. How does he respond? I expect a 1-base all in. Like, based on this build, like the balls here on Firefly to go for a gate expand on Hecate. There's no ramp to defend yourself. Not like Side Delta, not like Radisson Station. My eyes are on Cyan. I can see the probe skirting around towards the left-hand side. Do we throw down a proxy pylon? Adepts are going to be on the way. At least initially here for Cyan. Likewise, Firefly going for his own. And very important here, I don't know if you saw, but Firefly, he was chasing that probe. The probe did go towards the left-hand side of the map, but there was a probe of Firefly constantly on the chase there, making sure that if Cyan did throw down a pylon, the Firefly would see it. So there we go, Adepts, they do pop out. They do pop, they shut down the probe, trying to deny any kind of scouting information. Firefly is aware of the double Adept opener. Ooh, we do get our first hits in. Ooh, and Firefly takes a lot of damage already. Yeah, we do cancel the shade. Or we do commit, actually. Firefly behind this, going into a Stargate. This should be for an Oracle to harass across the map, and we could then go into Void Rays if need be. There it is, the first Oracle's on the way. Cyan, he is not punishing this, by the way. He is going for a double sentry follow-up after the Adepts and going for an expansion. So Cyan, he is going to be behind in the economy. You can see already, Firefly, he's up 5 probes. He's up 5 workers, and that worker lead is going to extend even further as the game goes on. Adepts, they do shade into the main base, and they will get some damage done. Again, very necessary damage here from Cyan. He gets in, he gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3 probe kills. We're going to get a 4th, and can we get a 5th? Ooh, it's going to be close. Shield battery does finish, and yeah, we're not going to get 5 probes. Regardless, 4 probes to do Adepts, not a bad trade for Cyan. He also gets a full scout. He also confirms that the Oracle did come out first, and that he wasted energy on that Oracle as well. So not a bad start out of Cyan. Now he's only down 2 probes instead of 5, so he has recovered a little bit. But we can see that Firefly is not going to take this line down. He opened up double Oracle. Not just 1, but 2. With 2 Oracles, you can one-shot probes, and the goal here for Firefly is to get some economic damage done across the map as he is zooming out. Behind this, Twilight Councils are on the way. Blink is on the horizon here for Cyan, I imagine for Firefly as well. Oracles, they threaten the main base, but Cyan is in position. Does push Firefly back. So far, so good for Cyan. Hallucination Scouts coming in. Getting eyes on everything, does confirm the upgrades. We can see that it is going to be Blink for Firefly. So Blink for both players. So far, Firefly hasn't been able to get too much damage up with those oracles, but he does get an adept. Gets one. Does get one adept. Doesn't get any economic damage. Yes, yo, Firefly goes right into that third. Oh my god. Quite a fast third base there from Firefly. I mean, fast natural base into a fast third. Firefly trying to snowball out of control with that economy. Again, we'll see if he can get away with it. Cyan goes for his own third later than his opponents. Bear that in mind. So still behind in the overall worker count and the overall base count as well. And those oracles are still poised to dive in. Ooh. As one adept goes down, we get one adept shading him, but one adept cannot really threaten the mineral line too much. And the adepts are going to be shut down. Is going to be chased back. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, as Firefly is distracted, Cyan, he's coming in. Does hit the third base. Firefly out of position. Blink not quite done for the blue Protoss. So far, good force fields. Very nice force fields, abusing the fact that Blink is delayed. Yeah, and Cyan, he's taking a better fight here. Shuts down one, shuts down two Stalkers, gets a third Stalker as well. Is going to be forced back. Firefly now kicks in with his own Blink. And with the defender's advantage, Firefly shuts this down. He shuts down the army, gets into the main base. Probes are falling as well. Not the best target firing. Oh, as we bleed out an Oracle. We do bleed out one of those Oracles, but we managed to get 5 probe kills. Firefly maintains his economic lead. And again, his defender's advantage really did kick in. He was able to hold on, able to survive. Now going for his own counterattack. Ooh, nice blinks out of Cyan. Gets an extra Stalker. Slightly better trades here by Cyan. As Firefly is going for a massive gateway explosion. That's 5 more gates on the way. That's what, 8, 9 gates in total? Jesus. It's a massive gateway explosion. We're going into charge. So it's going to be Blink alongside charge lots as well. Very gateway heavy composition. Cyan, he's not there yet. Cyan instead opting to go for a faster robo into, I imagine, Immortal production. Has not gone into charge. There we go, Stalkers pushing on forward. They do get a probe. Oh. A bad pick off there by Firefly. Gets a Stalker. 4th base on the way by Cyan. Oh my god, Bappy. Okay. Is going for his 4th. Likewise, Firefly going for his own, slightly later than that of Cyan's. Is moving out, is being active. Again, both players have comparable economies and comparable armies. I would say that, I mean, Firefly does have a slightly higher Stalker count. And he does end up threading the needle here. He does hit the 3rd. Gets a pylon. Blinks the hell out of there. Gets a couple of probes as well. Not a bad pick up here by Firefly. 4 workers and max the hell up. Now let's back the hell up from there. Again, we do see Cyan still maintaining that worker lead, so he could afford to bleed out a couple of probes. Could afford it. Charge is now done for Firefly. Charge just starting up for Cyan. This feels delayed. Like, this doesn't feel intentional here. Like, charge is so late for Cyan. And as a result, Firefly, he just has a better army. He just has a superior army here, just snowballing out of control, pushing towards the left-hand side, and can Cyan hold? He has the high ground, he has the concave, but here come the reinforcements. Yeah, more Zealots gonna be warping in. We force ourselves up the ramp, and Cyan, he cannot defend against this, he cannot hold. The boys are being pulled. Overcharge, shield battery gets focused down. The overcharge does nothing. And Firefly, he's just collapsing on this army, cleaning this up. Again, Cyan, his charge was late, his gateways were late, his army just pales in comparison to that of Firefly. And you can see that Cyan, he has 1,000 minerals in the bank. I do think that charge was, we may have forgotten charge there. The gateways were delayed regardless. And yeah, Firefly, he's just snowballing out of control. He's just busting through the 4th base, getting on top of the 3rd as well. And Cyan, he just cannot keep up. And Firefly is snowballing out of control, diving on top of the army. GG gets called, and Firefly will take game number 2. Whew. GG. Get this man into the mid game. Oh, he's waking up. And he may want to rethink his approach on Alcyone. Here we go. We're diving into our next game, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alcyone, we have Firefly for offside. A little bit out of focus. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Cyan for mystery gaming. I lost in the first round, so it's not me. It's fine, Bobby. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're a necessary evil. It's fine. This is the premier SC2 tournament stream as far as I'm concerned. Ah, less than 3. Less than 3. Gracias, Bobby. Gracias. As we are settling in, again, we're tied up 1-1 so far, and we're going to be getting into game number 3. Again, Alcyone, as we briefly mentioned, is a much more macro-oriented map. The 3rd base, the 4th base, and even the 5th base location are very defendable. We have ramps leading into them. We have choke points that you can make use of. It can be really hard to break these, but we'll see if we can go that far. It's still PvP, and we can still pop off and be hyper-aggressive early on. As Firefly, okay, we're good. I was like, are we going for a gate expand? No. 2 gate openers from both players. 2 gate opener out of Cyan, 2 gate opener out of Firefly. Everything looking as it should. And we're just waiting to see what our first 2 units are going to be. This time, no one is hiding their second pylon. You can see here it's in the main base of Cyan. Here it's in the main base of Firefly, so no one is going for any proxy early on, and no one is faking a proxy like Firefly tried to do in game 1. So we're just settling into this, into the early game. We are settling into that early game, and yeah, from here we're just going to be sharking around and trying to get a read on the first couple of units. It is going to be double Stalker out of Cyan and double Stalker out of Firefly. Oh, my apologies. One of the Stalkers was cancelled. It's going to be Stalker Sentry. Okay. So once again, Firefly is going to have a much more aggressive and dominant start here. He will have the advantage when it comes to firepower of his initial units. Meanwhile, Cyan will have a more defensive stance, going for scouting information instead. The power of the Sentry opener is that you gain access to a hallucination. With that hallucination, you get to see exactly what your Protoss opponent is doing. And you can see here, double Stalker into double Sentry. Again, Sentries have a lot of value and a lot of power in the early game of PvP. It's very common to see them as both players are investing. And again, with the hallucination, you can see if your opponent's going for a Robo Opener, a Stargate, if they're going for a 1-base all-in, if they're going for a Dark Shrine, anything and everything can be spotted. As both players are going to be expanding, additional sentries on the way. And we have our tech of choice, at least from the side of Firefly. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener. This should be for Blink. Should be for Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, Cyan has yet to really invest into his own. Again, a big reason for this is his gases are delayed, or his gas income is stifled because he invested into additional sentries. So he prioritized additional sentries and delayed his own tech. As Hallucination comes in, and Cyan does confirm. He sees the expansion, he also does see the Twilight Council. So Cyan, he sees everything. Meanwhile, Firefly should soon be going for his own hallucination. And there it is, it's on the way. And Firefly gets into the main bases. You can see it on the minimap there, and he will get eyes in. There's the hallucination comes in. Firefly also confirms the natural base timing and the tech of choice. So both players are headed in the same direction. Both players are going into their 2-base setup, into Blink Stalkers. And they both know that as well. You can see the continued hallucination scouting here from Cyan. Trying to figure out if there's any additional gateways, trying to figure out if there's a Dark Shrine, for example. Adepts will threaten the Shade. Oh, but Firefly, he does wall up. Does deny the Shade. And now we're waiting to see any kind of big deviation. And we already see one. Firefly throws down a third... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, like, yo, we got a third gateway. That's just the wall. Never mind. Never mind. From here, we should be looking to expand and take a third. We should be looking for a third base. And there it is. Firefly does throw it down, is spotted by the hallucination. And Cyan isn't far behind either, throwing down his own third base as well. So now we're easing in towards the mid game. We're not going for any kind of 2-base all-ins. We're heading into our third. And the big reason as to why this is occurring, we spoke about it, is because of the map. The map is very difficult to really assert yourself and end the game early, so everyone's just headed into the third bases. Hallucination is going to be focused out. Good force fields out of Cyan. Blink is done for Firefly. He's going to try and force his way through. Shield battery does finish up in time, but we do get one Stalker. Firefly does focus on one of those Stalkers, but oh, is going to bleed out one of his own. Yeah, a 1-for-1 trade. With that, Cyan threatens an Adept Shade. Does get one probe. Doesn't quite get a second. But gets one Worker. Cyan going for a counterattack as well, trying to punish Firefly. Those Stalkers are low. The Stalkers, they're battered and bruised, but it looks like Cyan, he won't risk it. He will back off. Again, the Defender's Advantage is quite strong here, so you do want to retreat and just live to fight another day. Wait for a second push here once we're on 3 bases. Now we're getting to 4 gate setups. We have our 4th gate, or 3rd and 4th gate on the way. +1 is on the way. Robo charge has started for Cyan. If you remember, Cyan's charge was late on Hecate. It was very late on Hecate. This time though, Cyan is rushing into it. So much better timing from our red Protoss. Firefly only a couple of seconds behind. So again, we're headed in the same direction. Cyan has a slight worker lead. Firefly has a slight army lead. But these are only like minute differences. Ooh, as actually Cyan throws down 2 more gates. Okay, so Cyan is going up to 6 gateways here instead of the 4 of his opponents. Firefly's going for a 4th. Uh-oh. Firefly, he's being too greedy. He's going for a 4th base. So instead of a 4th base, Cyan threw down additional gateways. We have a Warp Prism on the way. Cyan's pushing. Cyan, he's going to be pushing out on 3 bases with a very large army. And Firefly hasn't seen this yet. He's just now getting into his gateways. He's going to be down in production, down in army. Oh, my apologies. As I assumed that Cyan was going to be pushing, Cyan, he takes the gold. Okay. It is a later 4th, but it is the gold. Let's go. Cyan, he has gone for the gold base. The Prism is out. Cyan hasn't committed yet. But charge is now done. You can see Cyan vying for map control. Now moving out. Has to be very careful with that Warp Prism. Again, with the arrival of the Prism, I assume that Cyan would be a little bit more aggressive, and he is asserting himself, but he is not committing. So we're just kind of posturing here in the center of the map. Charge soon to finish up here for Firefly. A go base has been spotted. So it does drag Firefly towards the right-hand side, which means his 4th base is going to be exposed. And we're going for it. We're going for the 4th. Firefly out of position. Do we recall? We do go for the recall here. A risky move here from Firefly. The army, it's already on top of him. Force fields are thrown down, and we're bleeding out Stalkers. Yeah, Firefly is bleeding out far too many Stalkers, and Cyan, he catches Firefly out of position, catches him off guard. And there's no shield battery, there's no overcharge, no site defense. This is a brutal fight for Firefly, and Cyan, he's snowballing out of control. Big reaction there on cans. GG gets called, and Cyan takes a lead in the series. GG. GG, well played. Is on this player in the top left. We have for team offside, Firefly. And in the bottom right hand corner, we have for Mystery Gaming, Cyan. Here we go. The PvP does continue. And again, Cyan 1 game away from reaching that match point. Getting ever closer here to that championship, to that qualifying spot, to the offline finals. Casito. Meanwhile, we do have Firefly setting up here across the map. We'll keep our eye on that probe, but I believe Cyan is just coming into scouts. I'm not so certain we're going to be proxying anything. Yeah, as the probe is coming in, Cyan just getting an early scout here on Firefly, making sure that everything is as it should be. Ooh, Firefly, he does skirt around the edge of the map. He may be opting to hide his pylon. Yeah, it's looking to be the case. So Cyan, he gets behind the mineral line, and the second pylon should be thrown down out on the map, as it is a 2-gate opener from both players. Yeah, the pylon is thrown down at the third base location of Firefly. So he's hiding his pylon. Basically what's happening here is that Firefly is faking a proxy. He's faking it all in. And we'll see if Cyan takes the bait. As he knows. He knows now that the pylon is missing. He's like, hold up, what's going on? And immediately Cyan is checking. He's scouting around the northern half of the map. Very fortunate scouting pattern here as Cyan, he will come across the pylon almost immediately. He finds the pylon, does get eyes on it, and with that, Cyan now knows that there's no all-in, there's no cheese, there's no proxy. He's safe and sound. He is safe and sound. Despite that, ooh, Cyan, he did send out a second probe. That means there's a little bit more inefficient mining going on there from Cyan. So he's taking it very seriously. And that is going to give Firefly a slight edge here. It is going to give him a slight edge. As the probe is hunted down. We are opening up Adept. It was double Adept out of Firefly. We're getting to our Adepts here from Cyan. Adepts are going to be threatening a Shade. The expansion is going to be delayed. Oh, we get in. Uh-oh. The Adepts, they do get into the main base, and probes are going to be going down. There's a lot of damage early on. We get 1, we get 2, we're going to get 3, we're going to get up to 4. And can we get more than that? A 5th probe goes down. A 6th probe. This is far too much. Oh, this is borderline game-ending damage this early on. 8 probes go down. Across the map, Cyan doesn't get in. 9 probe kills. And that's a bit of a dynamic here of PvPs. You have to be on point with your Adept defense. You cannot slip up, you cannot make mistakes. That is 9 probe kills early on, and Firefly, he is looking comfortable. As a reminder, Firefly also has a faster expansion. He has a faster natural base. So Firefly is pretty well ahead here in the economy. And the pressure is now on Cyan. And yep, there we go. I was going to say that Cyan, he needs to make some magic happen. He needs to get some damage done. And he has heavily invested into Adepts. We have, what, 6 Adepts on the ground? Hey, we gotta go. The pressure is on, and again, based on the army, with a shield battery, with a wall, Firefly should be okay. That's a big if though. He does need that wall. Let's say Furnace Shade. Pylon gets thrown down. Do we commit? We don't. Oh, we play a game of chicken there, and Firefly does flinch. Did panic for a moment, threw down the force field. So wasted force field there out of Firefly. Cyan going to be rotating around. He did kill that pylon. Threatening another Shade. Firefly getting supply blocked here. Ooh, brutal supply block. Does break free. Cyan going to be retreating. And Firefly still has a better economy, and that is going to be reflected here in the size of the army. As Firefly does have the supply lead. Going for the War Prism, which means Firefly is about to push out. Firefly is about to counterattack, and we'll see if Cyan can defend, because even though Cyan has a comparable army size, he has mainly Adepts. And in a head-to-head fight, Adepts, they don't do well defensively. They don't trade well against Mass Stalker. Here we go, Firefly is pushing. Oh, he could actually dive into the main. He's going for it. He's going for the dive. There it is. The sentries have arrived, and we can force field the ramp. Now, thankfully, Adepts, they can shade in. They can shade in, and it looks like they will. We depower the gateways. Good juggling here with the sentries. We do barely keep them alive. We have another force field available. The juggling once again. We retain that sentry, third and another force field, and Cyan, he's stuck outside of his main base. He cannot defend. Only can defend with the depth. So we spoke about that. They just can barely contend against these stalkers. Another force field. Sentries trickle on in. Boys are being pulled. And Cyan, he's just being pulled apart here. The main base in control here of Firefly. The prism goes down, but the damage is done. Yeah, the army cannot be dealt with. We have one gateway we can warp in, one unit at a time. And Firefly, he has done it. GG gets called. Firefly ties up the series 2-2. It's gonna be a fast series. When Protoss have struggled to do early on. Oh, hold on. As we're getting into our next game, we do have in top left corner, we have Firefly, offside, and in the bottom right, we have his opponent. We have for Mystery Gaming, Cyan. Let's go. They are. Very astute, very astute. As we are getting into game number 5 here to determine who takes a lead in this series, in this PvP. We can see Firefly, bold move, by the way. Once again, you can see that Firefly, he's a lot more chaotic or a little more flexible in his openers and his builds. Firefly going for the gateway on the low ground. And do we go for another gate expand? Do we rush into a greedy build here as Firefly only has one gas in the main, one pylon on the low ground, and show us the Nexus? Yeah, Firefly, he's building up those minerals. He's going for the Nexus. A very greedy build here out of Firefly. Very greedy. And will Cyan attempt to punish? As a reminder, this is not the first time that Firefly has done. It's not the first time he's done this in this series. Earlier, I think it was on Hecate, where Firefly whipped this out, and Cyan played macro. He just played macro, he just took his own expansion, he just played from behind instead, and he was able to try to recover and able to bounce back. We'll see though, is Cyan tempted to all in? Rushes this by ground on Oceanborn isn't too bad, to be honest. But we spoke about how Cyan, he's more mid-game oriented. He isn't really the most aggressive player out there. So will he just let it happen? Oh boy. Yeah, pylons being set up on the low ground. Looks like Cyan, he's just going to expand. Do have our first students of choice. It's going to be Double Stalker. We do have that Stargate follow-up here from Firefly. This should be for Oracles. Okay, Cyan, he does go for his Twilight Council. He does hide a probe towards the top right. Do we go for a proxy gateway? Do we set up a proxy? My eyes are on Cyan. Interesting location. With a Twilight Council. If we go for a proxy pylon here on the right-hand side, it's going to be a Dark Shrine, right? What do you have in store for us? We would have seen it by now. We would have seen that pylon. Again, no expansion yet here from Cyan. Adapter is going to be shut down. Limited scouting information. He goes for the ninja base. You know, that was in the back of my mind. When I saw that he didn't throw down a pylon, I was like, is he going for a ninja? No shot. Not Cyan, right? He is. Okay, so we have a ninja base here from Cyan. Is moving out with his army. So basically, the purpose of a ninja base is he's faking a one base all in. He's faking a one base all in. You can see the reaction here. Firefly is going for a Void Ray. He's throwing down not just one shield battery, second shield battery as well. And Cyan, he's hoping to just scare Firefly into containing himself onto bases. There we go. A cannon is on the way as well. We're dancing with the Void Ray. Stalkers, they do make it out. They take a little bit of hull damage. And you can see Firefly coming back in. He confirms there is no expansion. And oh my god, big reactions out of Firefly. More cannons, more shield batteries on the way. He thought about the robo as well. You can see the another pylon. Firefly is convinced there's an all-in coming, but we know that there's nothing on the way, that Cyan is expanding. Okay. We have a game. Let's go. The mind games are real here. Look at this, 3 shield batteries, 3 cannons. Oh my god. We're setting up in the main. We're setting up cannons in the main base. And shield batteries as well. Firefly's terrified. Oh my god. He's crazy. Ay, ay, ay. And Cyan, he recalls here towards the top right. He's going to be saturating his base. His Nexus, of course. Firefly just producing more Void Rays. The Robo was delayed here for immortal production, but it was delayed in favor of more cannons and shield batteries. So again, Firefly is ready for an all-in that will never come, and Cyan is happily probing up, getting into the next step, getting into his Twilight Council, Blink, Gateways as well. Soon he's going to be taking a 3rd base. Ooh, does set up a proxy pylon though. Now, Cyan has to be careful. He does have a lot of Stalkers, but again, we don't want to commit into this. But again, he's not going to commit, but he's faking aggression, right? He's showing his army, he's poking in. He wants to try to sell this story as much as possible. You can see behind this, Cyan throws down a Robo. Throws down a Robo, gets a Gateway, picks it off, a good pick off. More shield batteries. Oh my god! Firefly. He's fighting shadows right now. Oh my god. Look at the more cannons, more shield batteries. He's not like this. And again, there are Stalkers, but like you can see that there's nowhere near enough Stalkers to break this location. There never will. Cyan, he's still just making more probes. Charge is now on the way for Cyan. He's a master salesman. He is. Aye, aye, aye. The scam is real. It's like what you need right now, Firefly. You need, what is it, like natural disaster insurance? Okay, you need to be ready for earthquakes, for like hurricanes. It's like, mate, there's never been an earthquake here in like in the history of the earth. No. You need everything. You need all the insurance. You need it all. You need like triple pane windows. Oh no. There's nothing, Papi. Not like this. And yeah, from here, Cyan is just containing. He's containing his opponent. Cyan, he should be expanding behind this, should be taking a 3rd base. There's no reason to force the issue. Firefly is now moving out with his Void Rays. But we have a recall. Remember, we do have a recall available for Cyan, so you can just, even if he's out of position, he can just recall back home. He'll be safe and sound. Yeah, Void Rays are moving out. You can see the 3rd base now on the way for Cyan. It is in production. We're catching the Void Rays! No! We catch out the Void Rays. We do blink on forward. We do get one. One Void Ray does go down. The others have been spotted. Cyan getting in position. You can see Firefly trying to take a 3rd base, but remember, because Firefly invested so much of his income into shield batteries and cannons, they are not there to protect the 3rd. The 3rd is vulnerable to Cyan. Charge is done. Charge is done. Shield battery is not up and running. There's no overcharge either. We can dive on this army. Yeah, we focus down one of the Void Rays. And we can back off, and we just have to never engage with the natural and deny the 3rd over and over again. That's the win condition for Cyan. Just deny the 3rd. And contain. Yeah, reinforcements are on the way. Yeah, the base is cancelled, and that's all he has to do. Deny the 3rd. He's got his own. Cyan does have the better economy. You can see that the worker counts are similar, but Firefly is he's oversaturated. He's not mining efficiently whatsoever. A massive gateway explosion. 6 more gates on the way. Firefly, he's forced into a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-in out of our blue Protoss player. Meanwhile, Cyan, he has so much freedom here to chip away at the army. So much freedom. And yeah, you can see Cyan take a massive worker lead. And yeah, with that Firefly, he's just, stuck at home. He will eventually break out. That is true. Eventually. Still doesn't know. Yeah, he still doesn't know. Doesn't know, Papi. Doesn't know. He never saw. He never saw the ninja base. Never knew what was happening. Overcharge is popped. Firefly going for a prism across the map to harass. Fourth base is on the way. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, Cyan just getting further and further ahead here. Gets a cannon. Again, Cyan has to be careful. He doesn't have to force the issue. No reason to dive into the natural. Just contain and max out. If Cyan wanted to, we could even take out into Sky Toss. If he really wanted to at this point. Prism is coming in. Observer goes down, and the drop does get into the main. Again, we can force a recall, but the army's going to be engaging. Ooh, Firefly has to be careful to be caught out. Overcharge is fault. We do have a defensive warp in. Yeah, some units are going to be recalled back home. And we have plenty to work with here for Cyan. He just picks this army apart. Oh, the prism! The prism got sniped. Zealots get cleaned up, and now we can focus on the main fight here. 6 immortals for Firefly. It's a hefty army, but he's being overwhelmed. Reinforcements have arrived as well. We have the juggling from the prism for Cyan, and he can focus on the immortals one after the other. We had 6, went down to 4. And again, Firefly just can never expand. Can never take that third. It's not gonna happen. We see Showtime after this? We will. After the Asia qualifier is the European qualifier. So Showtime is gonna be featured after this. After this best of 7, as we dive on top of the army, we collapse here on the Archons. And the Immortals, Overcharge is popped. And again, this is the best position for Firefly, but it's a numbers game. He's down to a handful of units. Down to 4 Zealots and 2 Immortals. Again, Cyan, he got away with murder this game. Like, it was crazy what he was able to pull off. An insane situation. Just sold the story. Didn't just sell, he sold everything he wanted, mate. GG gets called side. He can retire from here. And with that, GG, he does take a lead in the series. Oh my god. GG. I'm talking about Cyan retire close. Again, it's been a back and forth series, but I can't believe it's been that long. But here we go. We're diving into game number 6. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Chinese Protoss player, Firefly, for offside. And in the bottom right, we have our player on match point, Cyan, for Mystery Gaming. One more win is all that Cyan needs to take it all and to advance on into the main event, into the offline finals. Meanwhile, Firefly has to bounce back here and now, and it's been a very chaotic start so far, very chaotic series. On TL, this is listed under replay cards. Yes. So, we don't have a delay for StarsWar qualifiers because, you know, there's an inbuilt delay with the clean feed. But specifically for this event, we are doing this via, well, this event actually took place 2 days ago. But we were casting another event at the time. We were casting Sparkling Tuna Cup, so we could not cast 2 events at once, unfortunately. So we're catching up with the Asia qualifiers, and the European qualifier, which is in an hour, will be casted live. Or with the 30-second delay. So, kind of live, but, you know, with a slight second delay there, if you're interested. As we are settling in. So far, it is going to be a a 2-gate opener from our players. We do have our 2-gate opener set up from both Cyan and Firefly. No one is opting to go for the gate expand this time. It's safe for now. Yes, he's safe. As we have our first units of choice, it's going to be double Adept out of Firefly, double Stalker out of Cyan. Okay, interesting. So Firefly is going to be a little bit more aggressive here. His goal is to bypass the Stalkers to get across the map to get into a mineral line and to get some economic damage done. Meanwhile, Cyan, his goal here is to maintain map control, to meet those Adepts, to shut them down in a head-to-head fight. Cyan will come out on top. That's only if he can catch those Adepts. As from those Adepts, Cyan, he goes into a 3rd and 4th Stalker, so he's doubling down here on Stalker production. Cyan is going to have quite a hefty army. Firefly going for double sentry, going for some more scouting information instead. So a safer follow-up here out of Firefly, a much more assertive start from Cyan. Does come across the shade. Ooh, they will commit, they take down the probe. Good snipe there on the probe. Cyan going to go for a delayed expansion instead. Twilight Council on the way for Firefly. Getting his faster Nexus. Cyan forced to deviate his plans. Again, based on his Stalker production, based on the probe that was moving out, it does look like Cyan wanted to throw down a proxy pylon and commit, but forced out of it instead. Still sharking around with those Stalkers. Still trying to move out. There we go. He's going to be applying some pressure here at the natural base. We do throw down the force fields. Oh! Decent force field. Shield battery is done as well, so Firefly he is holding. Again, doesn't have as much DPS, but has the defender's advantage, and he will force back the army. Nexus does finish. Firefly trying to catch out some of these Stalkers with good control out of Cyan. He does pull back in time. Cyan working towards Blink. Meanwhile, Firefly, interesting, opted not to go for the Twilight Council, went for the Robo. Is going straight for the Prism. He's going straight for that War Prism instead. Oh. He's going straight for that War Prism instead, going for a delayed Twilight Council. Now with that Prism, he can get some Adepts into the main. Speaking of, there they are. Adepts, they load up into the Prism. They're headed for the main base of Cyan. 2 Adepts, 1-shot probes. So this could get a lot of damage done. Depending on the positioning of Cyan's army, depending on his reaction time, there is potential here for Firefly. There is potential. Extra gateways on the way. Interesting choice from Cyan. Adepts, they do get into the main, but a quick warp in does block them off. We don't commit to the shade. We get 2 probes. Ooh, and the Adepts survive. Very nicely done. Now, what's important is what we just saw. So, Firefly, he scouted both gateways. So he knows that we have a higher gateway count for Cyan. He also knows that even though Firefly is down in gateways, he has a faster 3rd. So Firefly is getting further ahead economically as the 3rd base is almost halfway done. Cyan is going to be focusing a lot more on his army production. Now, to make up for the Stalker deficit that Firefly has, Immortals. Immortals are on the way that will help out. Not just with the Stalker deficit, but with the Blink deficit. As Cyan has Blink, and Firefly does not. Firefly's Blink is still in production, and the hallucination will confirm that. So there's a bit of a give and take here. Basically, Firefly is stuck defending. Firefly is stuck at home. Cyan has map control. He can move out if he so chooses, but we can see that he's getting into his own Immortal production instead, and he's trying to catch up with his own 3rd. So we're getting into the mid-game. We're getting into a longer game here. As upgrades are on the way, 3rd bases will soon be saturated. We're calming things down. Again, Cyan has to be careful not to move his Stalkers out of position. If he does, the Prism could abuse him, could go back into the main. So we do need to keep eyes on him. Do need to keep those eyes. Meanwhile, across the map, yeah, we already have it fully saturated. Firefly does have quite an economic lead. He's going to be ahead almost 10 workers. You have Charge on the way, +1's about to kick in. Firefly just having the better upgraded units here. Working on Charge. Cyan, he's going to be committed. He's not probing. Cyan, he's not probing. He's all in. Armies are going to be clashing. Good juggling here from Cyan. Does keep that Immortal alive. Ooh, Firefly gets caught out. 3 Stalkers go down. 3 Stalkers are shut down. Firefly, a bit of an awkward fight for him. The Immortal, it gets targeted as well. A good start for Cyan, but the force fields are zoning back his army. Again, a very messy fight. Cyan trying to keep up with Firefly. And again, Cyan, he does take supply lead. He sniped the Immortal, he recalls back into the main. Probes are going down. And the depths are in the natural. They got 7 workers, oh my god. Firefly, he's extending his worker lead, almost up 20 probes. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Firefly. Which is why it's important right now that Firefly is forcing a fight on Cyan's half of the map, not on Firefly's. So Firefly, he has time to reinforce, to warp in, to build up his army, to work on those upgrades. Like, time is working for Firefly here. As the army's moving out. Firefly turning back. Big warping of Zealots. Charge is done. And we can surround on this. We can collapse on this. A bit premature there from Firefly. Has to back off. Has to calm things down. The army is spotted. So far, Firefly does keep up. He does have the concave. He has the high ground. The better engage. Does force Cyan back. Cyan rotating back around. Yeah, decent force fields. Gets a couple of Zealots. Gets a couple of probes. But as a reminder, this is the 4th phase. Firefly, he can afford to lose it. Okay, we blink on forward. We dive on the army. Where are the Zealots, though? They're trickling on in. And with the help of these Zealots, we're breaking on through. We snipe the Prism. The Prism goes down. The Immortal's still kicking. But it does get targeted. And Firefly, he's collapsing on this army. He's cleaning this up completely. He saves the 4th base. GG gets called. And Firefly survives the all-in and ties up the series. Firefly ties up the series. They are the top 3 players in the Asia region into set ace match. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of side Delta, we have our Chinese Protoss player for offside. It is Firefly. And in the top left, we have the red Protoss player from Land of China. It is Cyan for Mystery Gaming. Here we go. And as we get into the ace match, a big shout out to StarsWar 11, to the sponsors of this event. Shout out to Team W, New TV, alongside Double Esports, Aegon, Doyu, SCBoy, and some of the other sponsors that I'm unfamiliar with. Thank you so much. Without them, this would not be possible. And oh my god, we might be entering our favorite part of PvP, Phoenix Wars. Oh boy. we might be. Okay, so a couple of things. One, it's a gate expand. Because we're on site Delta, gate expand set up here from both Firefly and Cyan. Now, if all holds true, if no one goes for an all-in, and if no one tries to punish the other, this should be leading into a gate expand with a Stargate. We do have a second gas geyser from both Firefly and Cyan, which means they might go for the Cybercore Stargate before expansion, before the Nexus. And if both players open up Stargate, then we will enter Phoenix Wars. Now, this is a dynamic typically reserved for players like Max, Faction, Showtime, and Hero. I'm curious if this is also the case for Firefly and Cyan. Cybercores have been thrown down. Zealots is being forced out because of the pylon block. But again, this should be leading towards Stargate play. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep our eyes on them. Again, if it's Stargate from both players, we enter the Phoenix Wars. They are upon us. But I'm hoping we can deviate away. I'm hoping. Ooh, probe is gonna get sniped though. That should not have happened. The probe goes down. We do have a pylon block. There's the Stargate from Cyan. We have one piece of the puzzle. And does Firefly reciprocate? Yep, there it is. Stargate from Firefly as well. We spoke, mate, as soon as we saw the gate openers, I was like, oh, I I can smell the Phoenix Wars. I can smell it, man. So the Stargates are thrown down. Both players scout each other. Because they see each other's Stargates, it should be for Phoenixes, but that's a big delay in the expansion. We get the Cyber Block here on Cyan. Probe is going to be chased down. Probe is going to be chased down here. We should eventually deal with this Cyber Core. We should eventually expand and take our natural bases. And show us the Phoenixes. Show us. Oh, Oracle. He's crazy. Ooh, Oracle first out of Cyan, Phoenix first out of Firefly. I have to give the edge to Firefly. You know, in Phoenix Wars, if you don't make any Phoenixes, you're in some trouble. So, I have to give the edge to Firefly here. Cyan, very bold move going for the Oracle. He has to avoid the Phoenix. He has to keep it alive. Meanwhile, Firefly is lying in wait. Gets first couple of shots off. Does get the Zealots. Big pick up there from Firefly. Void Ray? Wait, what? What is happening? Okay, Oracle into Void Ray here from Cyan. Stalkers have arrived. Phoenix does arrive as well. We do have a Shield Battery there to support. Shield Battery is going to be able to keep that Stalker alive a little bit longer, but it gets locked in. The Stalker gets locked in. We kill the Stalker. We're pushing into the natural base. The Void Ray is halfway done. The Oracle does nothing across the map. So far, a good start here for Firefly. The Oracle, it is breaking through. Gets one probe, gets a second. Oh, gets a third. Oh my god. But again, it runs into more Phoenixes. Oh, gets a sixth probe kill though. This should not have happened. So much damage dealt. Very nice damage dealt here by Cyan. Cyan does take a worker lead, but the army is still struggling here for our Red Protoss player. Again, he has one Void Ray, he's got a couple of Stalkers. We have Mass Phoenix here from Firefly. But at least we have, again, avoided the Phoenix Wars. That should have been where we headed, but we're not there, and we're in a weird place. We're in a very weird place. As we dive on the Void Ray, there is a Shield Battery, though. Cyan will defend. And we should be stabilizing on two bases. Like, Firefly should be forced back. He's getting some damage, some whole damage dealt on that Void Ray. But he shouldn't get the kill. Yeah, we have plenty to defend here, plenty to force back those Phoenixes. And we are entering the mid-game. And as we enter the mid-game, ooh, that is going to be a Dark Cyan. Okay, Firefly. I mean, there's no Robo, and we just killed the Oracle, so there is zero detection right now. Zero detection for Cyan. And even if there was an Oracle, we could dive on it. Speaking of, oh, the Phoenix! The Phoenix is going to be trapped. Can we hunt it down? Oh my god. Void Ray gets punished. We go for the recall. And we get away. We barely get away. The Phoenixes, they do make it back home. And there it is. Oh, we have a Robo on the way. Let's go. We have some form of detection available. We can chrono out that Observer. It is going to be close, though, because the Dark Shrine finishes first. Oh. Dark Shrine will finish first. The Phoenixes are just sharking around. Firefly, again, taking his third base, taking an economic lead. Or trying to take an economic lead. Ooh, has the proxy been found? It has. The proxy has been found. We have some DTs warping in, but they are spotted. We know exactly what's going on. We managed to get a couple of probes in the main base. We're trying to distract Cyan. Pylon does fall. DTs are waddling in. Where is the detection? Where's the Observer? Uh-oh, there it is. We open the door. Firefly, he lifts up the Phoenix here. He lifts up the Stalker. Opens the door. DTs, they get in. No shot. They slip into the actual. They slip into the main base. Damage is being done. Ooh, this is game ending here. 13 probes go down. Ay, ay, ay. Did I say 13? 16 probes, 17 workers, more than a mineral line. And just like that, Firefly takes a massive lead. He's already got his third base up. It's about to get up and running. Getting into Blink Stalkers behind this. Again, just really just on the fly decision making there from Firefly to lift up that Stalker to open things up for those Dark Templar. And we have a massive gateway explosion on the way for Firefly. Now Cyan does have the army lead, and he does get on top of the third. Yeah, no shield battery, we're not in position. Can we save the third base? Beast is taking a lot of hits. Sustaining a lot of damage. The base is likewise taking a lot of hits from these Stalkers. Links are looking pretty good here from Firefly. Does force the overcharge. And the third base is going to be going down. Or it should be going down. We are going to be committing. The Immortal has arrived. Can we save it? Dab on top of the Immortal here, but Cyan, he's bleeding out his Stalkers. No shot. Do we save the base? We do. It was one shot away. No shot. One volley would have been enough, but alas, Firefly saves his third. It did cost him an Immortal, but he does save the third base. He still has a comparable economy here to Cyan. Reinforcements are on the way. Again, we're just going for some mass Stalker harass or mass engage. We take out the Void Ray. Shield battery's not done. Oh. Shield battery's not done. Overcharge is soon to be available in a couple of seconds, and it is popped. And we have the shield battery with it. Cyan, he holds. Whew. Does hold on. Remember, in that push from Cyan, Firefly was still getting into his own gateway explosion, but the gateways are now up and running. Firefly can now make use of them. And Firefly suddenly takes the Stalker lead. He's up in Stalkers, he's up in army. Cyan has to be very wary here with how he does push in. Catch a couple of probes. Trading with the army. That sounded like maybe a DT slipping in. That wasn't the 6 dead workers. And with this, the game is going to be calming down here for a moment. We're calming things down. We're backing off. We have 3 base versus 3 base. Firefly, the first to take his fourth, is taking his fourth. There is an upgrade lead for Cyan, so he can hit a timing with +1. +1 can be a big power spike here for the Red Protoss. So he's getting caught out. Cyan, respecting the army, backs off. There are more DT harassers coming in. As Cyan, he comes across the fourth. And he will not quite force a cancel. DT does get shut down by the cannon. Yeah, the fourth base is saved. And bleeding out a Stalker there towards the end. Does bleed out a Stalker. And that's going to be shading across the map. We do get a couple of probe kills. Very necessary as Cyan. He's down 10 workers. He's down a fourth. Hasn't even started his own, by the way. And Cyan, he's not making probes. If you can see there in the production tab side, he's not making any workers. He is committed here on 3 bases. We have 3 more gates on the way. I believe that's going to be 8 gates in total. 4th base is denied. Charge is on the way. Charge is about to kick in here for Cyan. And he just made his War Prism. Cyan, he's going to be committing. But the longer this goes on, the better it is for Firefly. There we go. 4th base now on the way, next to the proxy. So Firefly sees it immediately. Cyan going for a split push, but now we're in position. Firefly, he does deflect both armies. Going for a big DT counter. No, he's going to deny the base. Not like this. They're forcing a big reaction out of Cyan. He's racing back home, but there's no saving the Nexus. There is no saving it. You can see here, Cyan, he's trying. No! He's trying to take another base, trying to take another 4th. Such a massive delay here. Firefly is supply blocked. To be fair, like, he's having his own struggles as well. Both players going for some massive pylons or pylon explosions. Both players getting supply look for a moment. But basically, with this lead that Firefly has had, it is being represented here in his army. That's why his army supply is pretty insane. He's working on +2. Does have plenty of charge lots as well mixed in. Cyan pushing out. And again, the pressure is on Cyan. Firefly going for another big reinforcing wave of Stalkers. And the problem is that in a head-to-head fight, we can't really break Firefly anytime soon without something like Disruptors or Immortals, or trying to outposition and pull Firefly apart. A head-on engagement is not going to go the way for Cyan. It's not going to be good enough. We need to go for a backstab, or even something like Dark Templar. There are ways to bounce back here in PvP, but unfortunately Cyan doesn't have them available right now. And Firefly's maxed. Firefly, he's maxed out. He's catching up with +2. I'm sure he's just waiting for +2 before pulling the trigger. As +2 is going to finish up in a couple of seconds for Firefly. Cyan does have a +3 timing on the horizon, and maybe he can use that if he makes it that far. Here we go, Firefly is pushing in, diving on top of the shield battery. Gets the Prism. Prism goes down, Overcharge is popped. But a good chunk of the army is out of range of the shield battery. And Firefly backs up. And all he has to do is wait it out. Wait out the shield battery, wait out the Overcharge. That's all he does need to do. Again, numbers are on Firefly's side. The Concave, though, is looking pretty good for Cyan. Again, the defender's advantage working out quite well. Firefly bypassing the army, going for the third instead. Yeah, forcing Cyan out of position. We're pushing up the ramp. Firefly bleeding out a couple of units there. A couple of Zealots, a couple of Archons. So a bit of an awkward engagement, but he gets a kill on the Nexus. The Nexus does go down. And you can see Firefly catching half of the Stalkers on the right-hand side. We can dive on top of it. Yeah, we go for the aggressive blink. We get on top of the army, and it's just a numbers game at this point. Cyan just does not have enough. This game was pretty back and forth, had a wild start. But I just can't believe that Firefly, he held on to his third, he held on to his fourth. There were some opportunities for Cyan. Yeah, and with that, he is being overwhelmed. Again, this series went all the way to the ace match, went all the way to Game 7, but GG gets called, and Firefly does it. He will take the series and qualify for the StarsWar 11 main event. Oh, offside! Let's go! Firefly, papi. It went all the way to Game 7, went the distance here, and Firefly, he will qualify for the main event. He will be a part of StarsWar 11. He'll be joining Oliveira in that event. GG, well played. My condolences to Cyan. Again, it was a very good effort. I've mentioned it before, but I do think that Firefly and Cyan are pretty comparable in skill. I mean, clearly with a Game 7 here, they're very close in skill. Either one could have made it. Personally, I am more of a Firefly fan. We have been casting Firefly for a couple of years now, and seeing Firefly's rise, especially through 2022 and 2023, seeing him rise on the Starving Camels, initially in WTL, followed by the winter season on Platinum Heroes, like Firefly has been a bit of a favored player on this channel, and for him to make it through is huge. Not just this, remember, Firefly and Cyan were both at IEM. They were both at IEM Katowice. They were both a part of that event as well. Again, they've been getting onto the world stage more and more often. It's great to see. And GG, congratulations. Congratulations. With that, we have our second player to join the main event. The wubs are real. I'll turn that down. But regardless, GG, well played, congratulations. And with that, that is the Asia qualifiers wrapped up. We have wrapped up the Asia qualifiers, and there were a couple of people in the chat asking about it, asking about, you know, Showtime or the European qualifier. Well, last week we went over the open qualifier for the European and the Americas region. We wrapped them up, and starting today, starting in half an hour, in 30 minutes, we have the closed qualifier. The closed qualifier for the European and the Americas region. It is going to be live here on this channel in 30 minutes. Oh boy. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. Did I say in 30 minutes? Actually, you can see it right here. Hold on. 26. There's the countdown. In 26 minutes time, we're going to be live here. You can see the countdown. We're going to be leaving the stream on, so you can, you know, leave this on in the background. You can go and get some food. You can go and get some water. You can go to the bathroom. You can drain your disruptors. You can hydrate your hydras. You can massage your marines. And when you're done, we'll be here with the European and the Americas closed qualifier. If you're curious, exclamation mark B. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves, because you can see the matches ahead of us. I saw someone in the chat, is MaxPax playing? No, MaxPax is not playing. MaxPax did sign up for the open qualifier, but because this event is an offline event, and because MaxPax does not travel to offline events, MaxPax could not compete. So he did forfeit. He forfeited in the open qualifier, and MaxPax did not or could not partake in this. So as a result, MaxPax isn't going to be a part of this. Instead, we have Rainer versus Shameless. We have Showtime versus Skilless, Geralt versus Nikic, and a Laser versus Spirit. Oh boy, we have 4 best of 3s coming up next, and we will be casting every single one after the other. Oh boy, so some really good matches up ahead of us, really good matches. I mentioned before, but I'll quickly mention it now because we have a little bit of time. When it comes to the European and Americas qualifiers, there were a couple of players that did not partake. If you heard, initially, if you heard the listing of names there, Clem did qualify for the closed qualifier. Clem did qualify, but Clem forfeited. Apparently, Clem, he recently announced that unfortunately he won't be available at the time of the offline event. It happened after the qualifiers, but basically a couple of days ago, Clem, he found out that he wouldn't be available. So because he won't be available for the offline event for his personal reasons, I'm not too sure what, he didn't go into detail, but because Clem won't be available, Clem did forfeit his closed qualifier spot. So yesterday we had a last chance qualifier, basically who gets Clem's spot. And Geralt, the Polish Protoss player, he claimed that spot for himself. But that is why Clem won't be a part of this. Unfortunately, I guess the scheduling is not lining up ideally for Clem, so he won't be a part of it. There are also 2 other players that did not partake in the qualifiers, or I say 2, 3. Cyril, Lambo, and Hero Marine. They did not take part in the open qualifiers. A lot of people, myself included, theorize that Cyril's probably just taking a break. I'm pretty sure Cyril, he's taking a break in the lead up post IEM Katowice. I mean, he won IEM. And before DreamHack Dallas. DreamHack Dallas is coming up in a couple of months, in 2 months. So I think Cyril himself said that he was going to be taking a break, and he's focusing on his military service that he has to partake in as well. Cyril, he did post recently that he is going to be a part of DreamHack, or he's going to do his best to be a part of DreamHack Dallas, and he's going to do his best to be a part of Gamers 8. So I'm pretty sure because of the military service, Cyril, he's just prioritizing, picking and choosing some like select events to be a part of, and I don't think that StarsWar 11 is going to be a part of like is going to make the cut for Cyril when it comes to the key events that he can partake in, again because he has to focus on his military service. So Cyril won't be a part of this. I don't know the reasoning as to why Lambo and Hero Marine aren't. Maybe they weren't confident. Maybe they themselves wanted to focus on DreamHack Dallas. I'm not certain. I don't think they've said. I don't think they've clarified. But yeah, Lambo and Hero Marine won't be a part of this. But we still have plenty of other amazing players like Rainer and Showtime, Skilless, Spirit, a Laser. We still have the best that Europe has to offer. Missing a couple of key players, but regardless, an amazing lineup nonetheless. Is going to be an amazing lineup. And yeah, with that, we are going to be going on a short break. You can see here, 22 minutes. So we're going to be going on a short break. When we return in 22 minutes, we will be back with the European and the Americas qualifier. See you then. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. Hasta luego.